Channel Sports Center, we're going over next final prediction of this offseason, and it's going to be over the Virginia Tech Hokies. And this is a team that was 8-5 last season. And of course, I think Virginia, like many experts, I think this is going to be a team that is a huge dark horse in the 2020 season. And why I think Virginia Tech could be a big contender in the ACC next season is what we're going over here today. We're also going to be going over returning production along with a full prediction and preview on every game on Virginia Tech's schedule heading into the 2020 season. With that, let's look at your season trends from last season. Of course, they were 5-2 between September and October. Then they were 3-3 between November and the postseason. So, this is a team at the beginning of the season. They didn't look all that good. But as you went on through the year, they had some really good wins towards the end of the season, and that was for sure for Virginia Tech last season. And yeah, this is a team, once again, we're going to get into more about this later, but I think Virginia Tech is genuinely a team that could have a huge season in 2020. And looking at how they were in 2019, many expected them to have a huge drop-off in the 2019 season. Many expected them to only have like 4 or 5 wins last season, and they ended up having 8. This was a team that definitely surprised a lot in 2019, and this is a team that could surprise a lot in 2020 as well. Some of your key wins from last season: they beat Miami on the road 42-35. Also, they win against North Carolina 43-41 in 6 overtimes. That was a crazy game, and that was a huge win for Virginia Tech in that one. That one really set off Virginia Tech to have a great season and to have a great rest of the season for sure. They also were able to have a big beat up over Wake Forest on November 9th, 36-17. And Wake Forest last season, they were ranked for a good chunk of the season. So that was a team that was very good with Jamie Newman in there. That was a very good win for Virginia Tech there. They also had a shutout against Georgia Tech 45-0, and I considered putting that on here because 1, it's a road game, and 2, any shootout is very impressive in college football. So for Virginia Tech to pull that off against them was very impressive in my opinion. As far as the returning production looks, of course, you return your top quarterback in Hendon Hooker. And, he was a quarterback last season that was good. He wasn't great by any means, but he's definitely he had a great touchdown interception ratio last season. And so I think he's a quarterback that definitely could put up some big numbers in the 2020 season. Watch out for him. In the end, he had a decent amount of yardage. He didn't put up a lot of yardage. He did put up over 2,000, but still, he's a quarterback that I think in general has the potential to put up a great season. And of course, he did split up time last season with a different quarterback, but in the end, Hendon Hooker is definitely looking good for heading into the 2020 season. They do lose their top running back in Deshaun McCleese, which he was a big-time player for this team last season, over 1,000 yards. So he had a great year, and that's going to be a tough loss for Virginia Tech at the running back position. However, they do return their second running back in Keyshawn King, that's going to be a big return there for this team. And even though they're not returning the running back 1, it is great that they're returning their running back 2. That is what it comes down to. And as far as the receiving core looks, it looks fantastic for Virginia Tech next season. You return your top wide receiver in Trey Turner. You also return your second and third wide receivers in Damon Hazelton, as well as Tavion Robinson, which both of those wide receivers too put up some great stats. And this receiving core, that's also why I think Hendon Hooker next season could put up such a great season, is because he's got such good receivers to work with next season. Watch out for that. Especially Trey Turner. He's going to be a great NFL receiver in the coming years. So be sure to watch out for the receiving core out of Virginia Tech. They definitely should have one of, if not the best receiving core in, I would say, the ACC next season. As far as the offensive line looks, you return everyone on there. You also return your entire defensive line and all linebackers. And so this offensive line is looking also great for Hendon Hooker in this offense. So watch out for that. The defensive line looks great. Linebacking core looks great. The only really loss on your defense is in the secondary. You only lose one you only lose one player on your defense, and that's in the secondary. So this Virginia Tech team is looking really, really good heading into the 2020 season, especially how the returning production looks. They've got a great offense coming in, even though they do lose a great running back. Other than that, other than losing McCleese, this team is looking very, very good on both sides of the ball. So watch out for Virginia Tech next season for that reason as well. They do lose a tight end, though, on that offense, but in the end, still, it's not all that big of a loss. Brings up the question, will they win the Coastal Division next season? In that Coastal Division, you do have a couple of really tough teams for sure. It's going to be kind of a toss-up, I think. But, in the end, I think Virginia Tech is definitely going to be a big candidate to win that division next season. They'll be right up there for sure. And I think Virginia Tech in general, once again, watch out for this team. They've got a lot of potential, and they've got a lot of talent for sure on both sides of the ball. They've got great returning production. Watch out for them for sure in the ACC next season. And also, I mean, why Virginia Tech is a dark horse next season, that's a big question. And I mean, many people are asking if Virginia Tech is a dark horse for next season, and I truly think that this team is a huge dark horse, one of the biggest in the nation next season. I mean, no one's really talking about them. They did have an 8-win season in 2019, but no one's really talking about them otherwise, and that honestly surprises me. I think Virginia Tech next season is a team that definitely, I mean, I've seen some websites predict this Virginia Tech team to have 9 or 10 wins. I mean, I saw one source that had them going to an 11-1 record last season, or for this season, and honestly, I mean, I think 11-1 is a bit of a push. But I do think Virginia Tech will be a team that should be able to contend, possibly with a 10-2 record. But yeah, watch out for that for sure. As far as your schedule looks, you start off the season with Liberty on September 5th. Then you got Penn State, of course, on the 12th, and that's going to be a tough one there. You also have Middle Tennessee on the road on September 19th. You also have a game against North Alabama on the 26th, followed by a game against Georgia Tech on October 3rd. You also have North Carolina on the road. That's going to be a tough game. But you also have Boston College, Louisville, Pittsburgh, Miami, Duke, and Virginia on there. So, I mean, in the end, once again, I mean, that their division is completely wide open. They don't have to play Clemson or anything. I think Virginia Tech could easily be the team to win that division this season. I mean, if Clemson was in the way, I'd be like, I mean, I'd probably think that Virginia Tech really would not be able to beat out Clemson. But the truth is, this team does not have to play Clemson this season, and they are not in their division, which is going to help them a ton in the running for possibly making an ACC championship game next season. I mean, they almost made it to the championship game last season. Virginia just beat them out to be able to get to that position. But I think Virginia Tech definitely will get a shot at Clemson in the ACC championship next season. There's a very high possibility of that, especially if you're able to beat off Virginia. As far as your September looks, though, I think that you go 3-1 in this month. And once again, I mean, it always depends on whether the non-conference games will get canceled or not. Of course, we've seen the Pac-12 and the Big Ten now cancel their non-conference games, and that's why I've got now a conference record right by our overall record. So, I mean, yeah, that basically means like if the non-conference games do get canceled in the ACC next season, you'll be able to see the record that I would predict for this team either way. But anyway, I do believe that you do take a loss against Penn State. I think that one's going to be very close. I think Virginia Tech definitely has the potential to pull off a major upset in that game. But I think with it being at the beginning of the season, I think Penn State ends up winning that one. But it is going to be close. It is going to be very close, so watch out for that one there. I also think you get easy wins against Middle Tennessee and North Alabama. So you got 3 easy wins and 1 loss in your September against Penn State. So otherwise, man, I think Penn State honestly is the toughest opponent that Virginia Tech has on the schedule next season. As far as October looks, though, you got a couple of conference games here in this month. You've got Georgia Tech to start it off with. I think you get an easy win there, especially with it being at home. And then I think you take a loss to North Carolina. And this one I went back and forth on several times. But I think with North Carolina being at home for one, and for two, I mean, that team is looking very good heading into 2020. I mean, they've got a great quarterback. I mean, they had a true freshman quarterback under center last season, and he put up one of the best seasons in the nation in 2019. So, I mean, watch out for that. Watch out for that team for sure. In the end, I think you do get a win against Boston College. That's going to be an easy one there on October 22nd. And then you also have a big win against Louisville. That's going to be a very, very important game to win there against Louisville. And I think Virginia Tech gets it done. And they've got a close win over Louisville. But, I mean, they do get the win in the end. So that's all that matters. But in the end, yeah, you go into your November with a great record of 6-2. And honestly, your November does not look all that difficult. So, I mean, as long as you can get up to 6 or 7 wins by the end of October, I mean, this team is looking very good heading into your November. They also have a 3-1 record in the conference, and so that's what your conference record will look like heading into this final month in the case that non-conference games do get canceled. But here's what I'm expecting. I think you go 4-0 through November. I think you finish off your season with a 6-game winning streak. I think you've got close wins against Pittsburgh and Miami. Those will be 2 tough games, and I think they're going to be very close, and they could easily swing either way. But I think Virginia Tech gets the win over both of those teams in the end. I think Pittsburgh and Miami both, once again, will be good teams, but I think Virginia Tech does get the win, or get wins over them in the end. I also think you beat Duke, and I think that's going to be an easy one. I think Duke next season is really not favorable to have a great season, so watch out for that. But in the end, I also think you get a win over Virginia, and that's going to be a huge game at the end of the season. Of course, Virginia and Virginia Tech always play a great game every season, and of course, Virginia Tech has always had really good success over Virginia, and so, I mean, for that game, or for them to lose that one last season, and that was very tough for Virginia Tech in general. I think it also cost them a potential ACC championship opportunity in general as well, with Virginia winning that one. But in the end, I've got Virginia Tech winning that game. I think that you do take a close win, but in the end, you still get it done. So that your overall record for next season is going to look like 10-2. I think that you do have a 10-win season. And is an 11-win season possible for Virginia Tech next season? I definitely think so. I mean, this is a team that's got a lot of potential to possibly put up an 11-win season. I mean, once again, with all the talent that they've got there with Hendon Hooker and a great offense, you're basically returning your entire defense. I mean, this season is set to be a great one for Virginia Tech. Watch out for that. Then, in the end, that about wraps up our final prediction for Virginia Tech. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this team. If you enjoyed this preview, be sure to slap a like on it and subscribe as well. Really helps out the channel. I'd really appreciate that. But as always, thanks again for watching. Be sure to stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Once again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you all later.